G'day guys, Skits here, and welcome to another one of my Elder Scrolls Online videos. Today I've got three pretty big topics, but firstly I want to start off by saying that if you enjoyed this video and or want to see more Elder Scrolls Online news, rumours and all that sort of stuff, then please subscribe and also check out the playlist I've got down in the description. Just firstly, if you guys don't know, the Elder Scrolls Online beta, closed beta is now available to sign up to, so if you guys want to do that, please do so. But yeah, today we've got three pretty big topics: the map of the Elder Scrolls Online, the lore, basically the story, and PvP. So these are three pretty big things that are in the game, and hopefully I'll teach you guys a little bit about what the game will be about, and just general things that will hopefully interest you guys, because the game's release is obviously definitely this year, and I'm guessing it's going to be pretty soon because it's been in development for quite a while now. So anyway, let's get started. So let's start with lore. Now I'm just going to quickly mention you do not need to have played Skyrim or Morrowind or any of the previous Elder Scrolls Online games to understand what's going on in the Elder Scrolls Online. This is because the Elder Scrolls Online is before all of the previous Elder Scrolls games. Basically there are four eras of the Elder Scrolls, basically the world, I suppose you could say. The fourth era, which is the latest era, is Skyrim, so that game is before all of this, and the earliest era, which is era 2, is the Elder Scrolls Online, and things like Morrowind and stuff like that are in era 3, so you don't need to know what happens in other Elder Scrolls games because the Elder Scrolls Online is set way before all the other ones. So anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, I just wanted to start by, I'm going to sort of be reading off like what I've gotten here, these notes, so it might sound a bit nerdy, but these are sort of the events. So basically, 4 years before the Elder Scrolls Online, an arcane explosion of energy in the Imperial City, which is Cyrodiil, sort of occurred. Now, there wasn't too much information I could find about this arcane explosion, but I'm guessing it was some sort of evil thing that came and corrupted the whole world. So yeah, the world basically went cold and dark and gloomy and horrible. Mages died or became mad, so the whole world was basically turning for the worse, and it was just a shocking situation. And this is only 4 years before the Elder Scrolls Online set, so things aren't looking too good in the world. And supernatural abominations from Oblivion, which are known as the Daedra, appeared in greater numbers than before. So basically these things which were a threat before are now a massive threat. These Daedra guys, who are, you would have been familiar with them if you played Morrowind, I believe, but they're basically these evil things, and that's generally who you'll be fighting against for most of this game. So with all this horrible stuff, so began the grand scheme of Molag Bal. So he's the Daedric prince. He's got an awesome name. He's the Daedric prince of domination and enslavement. So he's basically the ruler of this horrible, I suppose you could say organization, but it's not really that. Basically, his dark anchors, vortexes of evil magic, weaken the barrier between worlds, threatening to merge Nirn and Oblivion into a single nightmarish hellscape. Now, let me just translate all that for you. So basically, his evil powers and all the evil things he can do can weaken the world and really make a dark thing in the world. He's threatening to basically destroy the world and make it a nightmare for everyone, and get all these Daedra guys to basically take over. But in the midst of that, you know, this guy can't just do it, you know, without anyone noticing. In the midst of all this, there are three alliances that are fighting for control of the Imperial City. And I'm just going to mention, I don't know why these three alliances don't work together, but I guess that's a whole other thing on top of itself. But so yeah, there's three different alliances. All of these three alliances are playable. I'll just mention they all have three different races that are playable. So there are 9 races in this game that are playable. And so yeah, they all are fighting for control for the Imperial City, which is basically known as Cyrodiil, and the White Gold Tower, which I'll get into a bit later. So yeah, the Daggerfall Covenant, the Ebonheart Pact, and the Aldmeri Dominion, so those are the three alliances, and they all have 3 races. So they're all fighting for the Cyrodiil, and their reasons are all sort of separate, but they all have a sort of similar meaning. So the main meaning and reasoning behind this is that they want to have control of Cyrodiil because the people there are weak. Although the Daedra are in Cyrodiil, the actual people of Cyrodiil are weak and they're quite pathetic at this point, but they all have their own sort of personal different reasons. For the Daggerfall's Covenant, their main reason is their leader, who's named King Emeric. He wants a strong empire, and he believes that when the empire is strong, the people of Tamriel are too. And humans are controlling the empire and are failing. So humans are controlling Cyrodiil and they are failing, and he believes that if a strong empire is ruling the world, then so too will the people of Tamriel be strong as well. So his reasons aren't that you know, his reasons aren't as interesting as some of the others, but they've still got their reasoning and everything. The Ebonheart Pact, for me, have probably the most interesting reasoning. So Almelexia, sorry, her name is, one of the leaders of Ebonheart. She wants to go after Cyrodiil because she believes that there is some magical threat to Tamriel. She's got more interesting reasonings, in my opinion. So basically, they want to march onto Cyrodiil and overtake it before she thinks that this crazy magical threat is gonna, take over the world, basically. So lastly, the Aldmeri Dominion, who are led by Queen Irene of the High Elves. So they're quite an elvish alliance, I've got to say. But the cool thing about all the alliances, they have different races with different sort of personalities. They're not all humans or not all elves. The Aldmeri have heaps of different sort of races that you wouldn't expect. But anyway, so yeah, Queen Irene of the High Elves, her reasons are geopolitical and personal. So she's actually had personal issues with Cyrodiil. She was an adventurer in Tamriel before she was a queen, and she suffered personally from the leader of the Imperial City, and she believes it's time to actually retake the White Gold Tower, which I mentioned before is basically what they built, and she wants to get rid of the humans who are basically leading Cyrodiil. So yeah, she not only does she want to occupy the place, she also, she has her personal reasons as well. So that's a pretty interesting plot as well. And what I find interesting is that each player, whatever alliance and whatever race they choose, they'll have their own ways of playing through and trying to take over Cyrodiil. So I think that's really cool. So basically, the three different alliances will take up arms against the Empire and against each other as well. I haven't mentioned this, but this is where PvP will come into it, to basically gain control of the Imperial City and the White Gold Tower from the Dark Forces of Oblivion itself. So that's the Daedra. So yeah, all the factions have different methods in trying to take Cyrodiil. They're not all just charging in, so that's really interesting. That's a cool thing about the plot and the storyline. Two things I'm going to mention. A lot of you guys have been leaving comments on previous videos. Pretty sure dwarves were extinct at this point, so they weren't around. They were already extinct, so I don't think you'll ever be able to play dwarves in an Elder Scrolls game. And I don't think dragons even existed at this point, or they weren't really a threat at this point, so I'm just going to mention that. The Daedra basically were the only threat, and the alliances themselves. So yeah, all the alliances were battling over each other, and I'll get into PvP lastly, but let's go into map now. So the map is something that I cannot wait for in this game. Basically, there are 9 zones. I'm not sure if every player can go to each one, but I'll get into that a bit later. That's including Cyrodiil, which is the main one in the middle that you'll see on the map. Now, some zones were in the Elder Scrolls games, previous ones that you'll notice. But the thing is, these zones are different to how they'll be because this is so much before all the other Elder Scrolls games. But Skyrim is still quite similar, I believe. It's still snowy and everything. So basically, the world is massive. It's all these zones that we've played before, like Morrowind and Skyrim. But those are only 2 little parts of this massive world. So that's going to be awesome, and we will see some similar worlds coming into it. Now, this is the one thing that I'm not 100% sure, and if you guys know, leave it in the comments. As I'm recording this, they haven't said whether or not the factions are locked to different zones. So I'm not sure if, certain different alliances can go into other alliances zones, if you guys know what I mean. But we'll have to find out about that a bit later, because that'll bring a lot to PvP in my opinion. But anyway, so yeah, there's 3 different factions, as I said. Each faction basically owns part of Tamriel, which is the world. So basically, the Daggerfall Covenant which are the Breton, the Orc, and the Redguard, own High Rock and Hammerfall. The Ebonheart, which are the Argonian, the Dunmer, and the Nord, own Skyrim, Morrowind, and Black Marsh. And Aldmeri, basically, who are the Altmer, Bosmer, and Khajiit, own Somerset Isles, Valenwood, and Elsewhere. I think that's what it's called, Elsewhere or Elsewire, I'm not sure, but that's basically how it looks. So basically, my guess is that each zone has 2 or 3 different level ranges. So, for example, High Rock might be where Redguard start and has a specific zone where you'll be able to sort of level up from 1 to 10, and then, you'll have quests that range from 1 to 10, and then a different part of High Rock might have 10 to 20 or so. So I think each zone will have different levels and different monsters from different levels, similar to how it is in other MMOs. So the map is amazing, and that really does make me excited to play this game, because the map is epic and huge. But now let's quickly go into PvP. So as I said, I'm not 100% sure if other factions can stroll into other factions as territories without getting, PvP'd or whatever. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I hope you can explore everywhere in the world, no matter what race or alliance you are. That'd be really cool. But the awesome thing about PvP is that there are huge battles, you know, 200 or even more people at the time, you know, attacking each other, 3 different alliances against each other. So that's really exciting, and I can't wait for this game. I can't wait for the PvP and everything. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't confuse you with the lore and everything, but basically the world's being taken over by this Daedra, and 3 alliances come together to try and protect it. So that's basically the last 10 minutes put into 5 seconds. But anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Check out some of my previous Elder Scrolls Online videos, and I will see you guys later.